but at the end of the day, you're leading people, not processes. You're leading a person, and you want the best for that person. And at the end, yes, I know that story, and it's amazing that that happened.
Yeah.
Hello, leaders, and welcome back to the LeadHer Lounge. Today, we're going to talk about when your employee goes over your head. And this topic can go to so many directions, but today, Taylor is going to share one of her experiences. And from that, we are going to just develop this topic.
Yeah. So I had the pleasure of experiencing as a leader, one of my team members, one of my direct reports, kind of skipped the chain of command, if you will, and was complaining to not just my leader, but my leader's leader. And as a leader, that was pretty embarrassing and unexpected, but they weren't complaining about me, thank God, which is one of the directions that this topic could go in. Luckily, they weren't complaining about me, but they were complaining and very passionate about something that I didn't have a lot of control over that they wanted done. And it was kind of out of my hands. We had a lot of conversations about this topic time and time again, and I advocated for them with my leader, my direct leader, and then our direct leader reported to, or advocated up to their leader. And long story short, the company just was not willing to prioritize it in that moment. So it was kind of out of my hands, but I obviously was coached up after that because they were like, why did your employee not go to you on this topic? But we'll get into how do we handle this. So if you have had this happen to you, like I have.
So first of all, let's cover the 3 most common mistakes that leaders can do. And maybe you can share if you made one of them.
Yes.
I don't think so, but maybe, right?
Maybe.
The first thing is taking it personally and being emotional about it. And of course, it's your team member, it's your employee. And you believe when you're a good leader, you believe that you have built enough trust for them to come to you first and to complain about a situation, or if they are concerned about a process, something that is going on in the company, you believe that you have built that trust. And when this happens, you take it personally, but think about your team member and their perspective. It's not about you, my leader. It's about myself and my job, and I need to figure it out what to do because I don't think my leader can do anything for me and can help. So let me go to the source and let me try to figure it out. Sometimes I don't want to burn down my leader with the situation, and I want to figure it out. So not taking it personally is very important in that situation.
Easier said than done, but it is. Yeah, I think I was definitely, when I heard this, because I was getting coached up by my leader's leader, I was embarrassed because I was like, oh my God, I thought that my employee would never do something like that because we had a lot of trust in that relationship, but it was kind of just one of those unexpected things, and he was very passionate in the moment, and I understand exactly where he was coming from, but it was just, it was a tough. After that, it was another conversation with him of, listen, you're not just representing yourself in those moments, you're representing the entire team. And I even, because we had such a good relationship, I was like, you're representing me. Like, that doesn't make me look good either. So we came to an understanding, long story short, but.
Yes, and I'm wondering also how that conversation went with your leaders at the time, because that's like the second mistake that leaders can make is when they just try to control the narrative of the situation after the fact, and they just trying to protect themselves.
Yes. My experience with this, I knew that this team member was incredibly passionate about the subject. So when I was approached by my leader and my leader's leader about him talking to them, I was like, oh, shoot. Well, I mean, to be fair, this is something that I am also passionate about. I don't condone him, skipping the chain of command and doing it this way. I actually had no idea that he was going to be doing that, but I kind of advocated more so for him in the moment, just because if you don't do that, you're going to lose even more trust. I could have easily been like, he did what? I can't believe he did that. That's so unexpected. Oh my God. Like I'm so embarrassed, and I did share, I was like, I'm sorry that happened.
Yes.
I didn't expect that.
You took ownership.
Yeah, but again, one of those things that's easier said than done, because I think in some moments, especially when it's like you're seeing, yeah, I had a great relationship with my leader. I didn't really know my leader's leader that well. So having to confront them was a little bit more of a like, how do I make myself look good in this situation?
Yeah. And I think what you did after the fact, I know your team member will appreciate, and they appreciate the fact that you didn't just like, okay, yes, let's do something about it, because of course it's unacceptable that a team member does that, an employee, but you need to advocate for your team members as well.
Yeah.
And the third one, and you didn't do that, is ignoring the behavior entirely. You actually talk to your team member right away, because look, everybody knows what's going on in the team. So if you ignore that behavior, everybody else in the team is going to know that you just ignore anything, and you, for the fact that you don't want to have a tough conversation
about it.
You avoid that, and team members are just going to do whatever they want moving forward. So don't ignore the behavior. Talk with that team member, and now you're going to cover what you should be doing as a leader. And the first one is have a conversation with your team member. Have some open-ended questions, because you need to understand why they're doing that before you go right away to feedback mode.
Yeah, I think my first approach was to have an open and honest conversation of like, hey, listen, I just had a conversation with so-and-so, and you could see his eyes got big. He was like, oh, shoot. Because, he knew he probably shouldn't have done that. But I just was like, listen, this is... I'm not mad at you for doing this, but I'm very curious on what your end goal was with this conversation. And that did help us kind of get to the root cause of like, he was like, it's something that's out of your hands, and it's something that we're both passionate about. And we even had conversations with our leader, the three of us together, and we all were on the same page. So it was really tough to hear no, and that the company wasn't prioritizing it. But I did talk a lot in that moment though too about personal brand, and that you're not just affecting, like I said earlier, you're not just affecting yourself in this, you're affecting the team. But I also made sure to shift the conversation to make it about what he was so passionate about, because in the long run he doesn't care that I got coached up for that. He cares that it still isn't happening. So I made sure to acknowledge that and say, listen, this is something, it's a small fraction of your role, but it is something that you are incredibly passionate about. How can we get you to a point where you can actually pursue this?
Yes.
And at the end of it all, it was a bittersweet moment, and it was a learning opportunity for him. It was definitely a learning opportunity for me, because I didn't think that would ever happen. But I think we're going to go into that. I don't want to like jump the gun, but I think we're going to go into that is a perfect approach.
Helps me understand what do you do that, and from that you can learn so much about that perspective. And the second one is this is an opportunity to reset expectations and boundaries with your team. What is the chain of communication? Maybe they don't know, right? We need to, if you are going to assume something, assume that people just don't know better, and you just need to reset the expectations, say, this is the chain of communication. If you need to communicate anything with my leader, just ask me first, because I might have the information. And if no, I'm going to try my best to find out.
Yeah.
And I'm your advocate. I'm here for you. So let's go back and talk with the team.
Yeah.
And if they have any questions, because it is happening with one team member, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen again with somebody else.
Absolutely.
And the last one is audit your own accessibility and approachability. So reflect if you have been present for your team members. Take ownership, right? Have you been there for them? Are you always checking on them? What is your accessibility?
Yeah. I was super accessible, I think, as a leader, sometimes maybe too accessible, which we could probably talk about that in an episode too.
Yes.
But I was super accessible. So I think that he felt that because I was at a roadblock and it wasn't really able to go past that point, he was like, okay, we're going to go past this because she's stuck. We can't move any further than that. But yeah, I think accessibility is important, because if you're also not available all the time, that also might be a reason why your employees are going going above your head because they can't find you. They don't know where you are.
Yeah. So try to apply those steps. I know it's not comfortable when somebody does that, but have that open communication with your team members. Set those expectations, and also talk with your leaders to advise you in any of these situations as well. And if they have any other type of like techniques that might help. But I think that's all we have for this episode.
That's all we have. I want to share the quick ending if I've got time of the whole situation,
Yes,
because
of course.
after that conversation that we ended up having with that team member, it was, like I said earlier, it was bittersweet because he ended up getting a job where he could actually do what he was very passionate about and make a bigger impact in that thing. Because I gave him the space to share that and helped him get there to a point where it wasn't like shutting him down, but helping support him get there. So it was a happy ending.
I love that because yes, you're leading and you're the leader of this organization and you want your team members to continue growing within the organization. But at the end of the day, you're leading people, not processes. You're leading a person and you want the best for that person. And at the end, yes, I know that story and it's amazing that happened.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, if you all have any stories that are similar to this, or if you yourself have experienced a team member or an employee going above your head, let us know how in the comments. Let us know if there's any best practices that you can share. And that is all that we've got for you today.
Yeah. See you next week, leaders.
Bye.